Someone followed me on a solo hike near Mount Rainier. I thought it was a person. I've always preferred hiking alone. There's something about the quiet and the distance from people that helps me clear my head. Last weekend, I decided to take a trip up to Mount Rainier, planning to camp solo and hit a section of the Wonderland Trail starting near Box Canyon. Things were normal for most of the day. Typical March weather. Wet, gray, but manageable. I didn't see a single person after the first few miles, which isn't unusual this time of year. But around mid-afternoon, while crossing a section near Indian Bar, I noticed someone ahead on the trail. They were too far to make out clearly, just a dark figure maybe 100 yards ahead, partially obscured by trees. I called out, thinking maybe it was another solo hiker or someone who'd gotten separated from their group. No response. I kept moving, and after a while they were gone. About an hour later, I spotted them again, closer this time, maybe 50 yards off trail, standing completely still behind a fallen tree. What struck me was how pale their face looked, even from a distance. Again, I called out. Nothing. This time, I felt it, a mass of discomfort which built in my chest. The prickling sensation on the back of my neck like I was being watched. I tried to rationalize it. Maybe some lost hiker was too scared to respond. Maybe someone is messing with me. I picked up my pace. But no matter how far I hiked, every time I glanced to the side or behind me, I'd catch flashes of them, standing just out of sight, behind a tree or up on a ridge, always watching but never approaching. By dusk, I was rattled. I set up camp further off trail than usual, thinking maybe I could avoid whoever it was. As night fell, the woods grew dead silent. No wind, no animal sounds, just me sitting in my tent, clutching my bear spray like an idiot. At some point past midnight, I heard crunching footsteps outside. Slow, deliberate, circling my tent. When I finally worked up the nerve to peek out, there was no one there, but I noticed fresh footprints leading deeper into the woods. Bare footprints. In the freezing dirt. I should have packed up and left, but something about it, I can't explain it. It didn't feel threatening. It felt like I was supposed to follow, so I did. The footprints led me downhill, off-trail, weaving through dense forest for what felt like miles. Eventually, I came to a clearing I'd never seen before, despite hiking Rainier for years. In the center was an old, overgrown well, stones crumbling, choked with weeds. The footprints ended there. I got closer, and that's when the smell hit me. Something foul, metallic, and sweet all at once. A distinct smell of roadkill of some sort. I shined my light into the well. At first, I thought it was animal remains, but it was. It was a human body, decomposed and crumpled at the bottom. Clothes shredded, limbs bent wrong. Whoever it was had been there a long time. I backed away, Shakinug, and that's when I noticed there was someone standing on the opposite side of the clearing, staring at me. Same pale face, same dark figure. Only this time I could see them clearly. They looked like they'd been dead for years. Sunken eyes, hollow cheeks, torn clothing, mud-stained and silent. But the worst part was the faint smile on their face, like they were relieved. Like they'd been waiting for someone to find it. I bolted. When I returned with the rangers the next day, the clearing was still there. The well was still there. The body was still there. They're investigating now, but they told me it could be decades old. No ID yet. And that person, the pale figure, I never saw them again. But part of me wonders if they led me there on purpose. Like they'd been trapped all this time, waiting for someone to notice.